Amy Pohl, our Communications Director with CCADV, is joining us to present on making the most of your CCADV membership. Welcome, Amy.
Hi, thank you. Thanks to all of you who have joined us today. We're really excited as we start our 2018 membership drive to tell you all a little bit about membership benefits. Some of this might be review, some might be new information for you, and we just want to make sure that you all know, going into membership for 2018, all the ways that you can reach out to CCADV for support. And certainly if there's something that we don't mention along the way, it's always best to just go ahead and give us a call and ask, hey, can you help us out with this? We're not really sure. Because if CCADV cannot, we certainly can try to connect you with folks who can. So we're really excited to have you all on the call. And as Shannon said, we really hope you'll engage with us with questions or comments as we move forward throughout the presentation. So I just want to start by talking a little bit about what is a coalition, because I know that it can be hard for people to describe. It sometimes can be hard for coalition staff to talk about what it is we do, because we're not doing direct service. Instead, we're supporting folks that are doing the direct service around the state. And so we use this logic model adapted from Chris Sullivan, who some of you might know, to think about what it is that the coalition does in our communities. And so, of course, all of you know we're going to talk today about training and technical assistance. That's a huge piece of what CCADV does, especially in support of our member programs. We also make sure that we're keeping a pulse on what are some of the gaps in response and prevention efforts around the state. So where might we need more resources, and what kinds of resources are those, and how can we help get those resources to those communities? We work at the systems level to try to change the way that that systems are interacting, especially with our DV programs, but with survivors just in general. We, like our member programs, work to educate the public. And where possible, we actually try to connect community members to local domestic violence advocacy organizations, because we want them to have those relationships with programs in their communities, because those really are the resources in their communities that they'll need to access when they're supporting survivors. And of course, we do a ton of policy work, and we're going to talk about that a little bit today, because for those of you who don't know, the 2018 Colorado legislative session begins tomorrow. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today too. So that's an overview. If you guys like this logic model or want to know how to find out more information, it is available on our website. And I'm actually going to show you where it is on our website here in just a moment when we talk about accessing member benefits and information on our website. Now, let's see if I can get to the next slide. So one of the most important things that I can sort of point out is our membership benefit packet. And we do post that on our website, and when you renew your membership each year, you do get a copy of that. It's a really helpful resource guide. It's not entirely inclusive, but we try to keep as many things in there as possible so that it's easy reference. I really recommend for executive directors and program managers to flip through it, and then also to share it with any new staff or volunteers that you bring on, so then they know if they need to, or if they when they are able to reach out to CCADV as well, because anyone from your program can reach out to us if they have a question, and so we want them to know what they can reach out to us about as well. So at this point, I'm going to just hop out of my presentation. I'm going to actually go to the website. Here's our coalition website for those of you who haven't been on recently. I want to point out up here, here's that CCADV members link. That's where you would actually go in and be able to, once you sign in, I'm already signed in, so you're going to see me go automatically, but you would actually, a little screen would pop up for you to sign in. This is our members only section, which has our resource library available on it. If you don't think that you have access to that as a member, you do. We'll just give you the information again, so that's something that you'll want to reach out to us about, but there's lots of information here on that in that area of our website. So something to keep in mind. So I'm going to take you into our CCADV membership section of the website so that I can access our member packet and highlight a couple of things for you there. So here's a couple of different information, some basic information, membership levels and benefits, and then there's that membership packet. So you have it always online, but we also do send you a copy, as I said, on an email. And if you ever want it again, we're happy to make that available to you. So this is just a PDF document. As I scroll down, you'll see that we've got some benefits of CCADV membership listed right away. We've got that logic model again. What I really love in here is how we talk about the difference between local domestic violence organizations and what they provide, and then how the statewide coalition helps support those efforts. That's really what we were designed to do. CCADV was started back actually in 1977. So we're just finishing our 40th year in operation. And it was actually started by 12 local domestic violence programs that got together and said, we need to come together and have a collective voice on behalf of survivors of domestic violence in Colorado. And so that's how we started so long ago. And of course, we've grown a lot since then, but that same basic idea of why we became a coalition remains. So I like how this talks about why DV organizations, so the people like you all doing the work in communities, are really important, and then how we support you at a statewide level. And then it just talks about all of the different benefits. So I'm going to start actually with training and technical assistance, because as I said before, that seems to be one of the most well-known benefits that you receive with CCADV membership, and it's really what a coalition is designed to do. So a couple of things I want to highlight for member benefits through CCADV is, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to go ahead and pull my slides back up. The conference, Colorado Advocacy and Action Conference, which is the first week of June this year. So it's open to anyone. It's not simply open to member programs. However, members get a very generous discount on registration costs for the Colorado Advocacy and Action Conference every year. We're an incredibly affordable conference, as most of you who've been would know. And also one of the benefits that you receive as a member is that you're eligible for room reimbursement nights at the conference. And so each year when you register, you let folks know that you're a member and that you're looking for a room reimbursement. It's one room night, or it's actually, sorry, 3 room nights, so one for each night of the conference, for the duration of the conference. Even though there are some years where we don't have the budget for all of our members to enjoy that, we try to do as many as possible. And so the sooner you register for the conference and claim those room reimbursements, the better. So that's really something that there's a little tip you want to keep in mind when it comes time to register for the conference. Register early so that you can claim your free room nights for while you're up there. And that's something that only members are able to receive. We've got a really exciting lineup of workshops this year that you'll be getting more information about as we get closer to the conference. And this is something that's new this year. We're actually having a CAIA presenter blog. So as we work our way toward the conference, our workshop presenters are going to be writing blogs and talking a little bit more about the workshops that they're going to be presenting at the conference. So you have a better idea walking in which workshops you might want to attend or make sure that a staff member attends. So we're really excited about that. So that's a new little tidbit that hasn't quite been announced, but will be announced shortly this year. Another huge benefit to membership with CCADV is unlimited access and free to our online learning center. And so if you're not a member, each course is $50 per person. And so you can see how that would easily add up, especially when you might have staff and volunteers accessing that online learning center. And we're really excited that as of January 4th, so last week, we did launch a new course on public benefits. I'm sure that most of you have worked with survivors on the issue of public benefits, either applying for public benefits, helping them understand their public benefits, or maybe even appealing public benefit decisions. You all know how complicated and unwieldy that system is, and so now we have an online learning center course directed or focused on that. So that was just released. So that's really exciting, and we've got a number of more courses coming in 2018, including Intimate Partner Stalking, which I bring up because now January is National Stalking Awareness Month, and even working with Child Protective Services, which, as we know, most survivors that we work with are also involved in a number of other systems, and of course Child Protective Services being one of them. So those will be online pretty quickly in the year 2018. And I just want to show you, I'm going to back out of my presentation for a moment and back onto our website. To access the Online Learning Center for the first time, if you don't have a login, you would go into training, so under what we do, training and community education, and then we have a link for our Online Learning Center. And of course, we can send this link directly to you. It does talk about all of the available courses. And of course, here's that Understanding Public Benefits one that we just added. And then down here at the bottom, you can complete the form to request registration access. And again, as a member, you are eligible for free registration. And so Shannon Day, who's here with me in the room, is the one that you would contact about getting signed up for the Online Learning Center. And anyone in your program is eligible for that. So for domestic violence programs and allied partners or community partner members, that could be you, that could be your staff, that could be volunteers, that could be board members. This is a great opportunity for board members to complete some training on the issue of domestic violence. So all of those folks are eligible for free access to the Online Learning Center. Individual members, that access is just available for you. So that's something that I just wanted to make clear. So that's the Online Learning Center. Coming back to our presentation, I also just want to mention Brown Bag. And again, we know that Brown Bags are not open just to members, but we do hope that members reach out to us and let us know what kinds of Brown Bag topics they're looking to hear from CCADV. And so that's something that we ask our members often at region meetings and in other times that we're having interaction with them. So our members really set the agenda for our Brown Bags throughout the year, because really they're designed to be monthly trainings that are looking at new and emerging issues that are impacting you right now. And so that's what we really want to be addressing with Brown Bags. And so members really have the opportunity to weigh in and help us decide how we're going to, how we're going to move forward and what kinds of topics we're going to cover with Brown Bags. I hope you all are getting a good laugh at the picture here in the corner of the screen of Jackie and Shannon. I wanted to put the picture in there because those are the folks that you would reach out to if you have questions about training and technical assistance at CCADV. So that's Jackie Morse on the right in the sparkly hat, and Shannon Day on the left in the very sort of 20s Indiana Jones sort of hat. They're the ones who you'll reach out to regarding training and technical assistance requests. So that's sort of an overall look at training and technical assistance. Of course, the technical assistance piece is really individual and one by one. Those are the kinds of questions that you have on every day, on day-to-day, where you're confronted with an issue that maybe you're not familiar with, or maybe you're filling out a grant and you're not really sure what a particular question is asking, or you've had a particularly difficult client come in with some issues that you're not really sure how to move forward with, or what resources are available. And that's when you would reach out to Shannon or Jackie and be able to ask those kinds of questions. They also handle larger technical assistance requests. So if you have a site visit by DVP and you're missing some policies, Jackie and Shannon are the ones that are going to help you connect with those policies, help develop those policies that are going to work for your programs, so some of the larger technical assistance requests as well. So before we move on to our next general topic of membership benefits, does anybody have questions about training and technical assistance and what CCADV can do for you, or how we can support you with training and technical assistance?
So if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we can unmute you, or you can just type it over in the question box real quick. We'll give you just a couple seconds to do that. All right. Amy, it looks like you covered the information well. What else can they get from their membership?
And if you all have, other questions moving forward or something that you think of, feel free to go ahead and type them in as we go along, so we can certainly come back to that. So now I want to talk a little bit about public policy. This is one of the, again, hallmarks of being a coalition is that we're sort of the statewide voice for all of the folks that are supporting survivors of domestic violence around the state. So we want to make sure that that any issues that are impacting survivors in our state that might be handled through policy or laws in Colorado are making it to our public policy committee, and we're having a plan around how we might address that. And so in the picture you're going to see on the right-hand side in the teal, Lydia Waligorski, that's our public policy director. She's actually standing in Washington, D.C. outside Senator Bennett's office with Jackie List, who's actually one of our board members and works as the executive director of the Safe Shelter of St. Vrain Valley up in Longmont. They went to Washington, D.C. last year for our national advocacy days. So just as we've got LEAD coming up in February, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, each year our national coalition, NADV, invites members of coalitions from around the country to go and talk with our national or federal legislators about issues that are impacting survivors of domestic violence and their families in our home states. So if you have questions about public policy, Lydia Waligorski is the person that you'll reach out to. So one way that members have the opportunity to participate in public policy, so at a very basic level, members as well as the community at large have the opportunity to sign up for our public policy advocacy list, which is just our list, an email list where you get announcements about opportunities to call into your legislator and let them know your opinion on a particular issue or on a particular bill. It's really important to remember that when we send these out and we give you scripts to share information with your legislators, that does not count as lobbying. That's actually educating them on a particular issue. So when we give them information about an issue that impacts survivors, that's not necessarily lobbying them. That's actually just saying, hey, here's some information that you need to know when you make decisions, and here's what your community cares about. So that's one really basic way to get involved. Another way to be involved as a member is as a part of our public policy committee. And Lydia, of course, is the person that you would contact if you're interested in doing that. But the public policy committee meets once a month, and they sort of decide what legislation we want to move forward with during legislative session, what bills other people have brought forward that we either want to support or that we want to oppose, and why. So it's a great way to be involved at that level. And finally, a really exciting way to participate is through LEAD, which is Legislative Education and Advocacy Day, which is February 12th this year, which is a Monday. So folks can travel out on Sunday. One of the member benefits is that if you are a member of CCADV or CCASA, you will have lodging reimbursed. And so we did book hotel rooms at the Holiday Inn in Cherry Creek, which has easy access downtown, and you would be eligible for lodging reimbursement. And that information is available on the registration for LEAD, which went out in today's newsletter. So you can have that information, or again, you can always contact Lydia Waligorski. But LEAD is a really exciting day. You get together in the morning, there's coffee, there's presentations throughout the day about different issues, about the budget, about how policy works and how laws are made and how it impacts communities. And then you actually have an opportunity to go and speak with the legislators from your community about issues that are important to you. And if you want, we have volunteers that will go with you and speak with them, or just stand with you while you speak with them. Because some people, it's a little intimidating to go and talk with a legislator for the first time. Even though legislators love hearing from their constituents, they really do. It can be a little intimidating. So we have folks that would actually go with you and be in the room while you speak with your legislators, so that it kind of alleviates a little bit of that anxiety. So it's a really exciting day at the state capitol. What we've heard is that actually one of our programs in Pagosa Springs, for instance, is bringing 9 high school students with them to participate this year. They're part of an advocacy club at their high school, and so they're actually going to all come out and participate in the lead day on the 12th. So there are ways that you can engage your community to come as well, if that's something that you're interested in doing, and that's really exciting. And again, CCADV members are eligible for lodging reimbursement, and the information for that is on the registration for LEAD, which went out in today's newsletter. So really exciting ways for members to be involved in public policy, but also ways to be involved in public policy even if you're not a CCADV member. So does anybody have any questions about public policy before we move on?
Again, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we can unmute you, or just type it into the question box. We will let you know, too, that probably we'll be looking at a little bit more training around one of the points that Amy made of the difference between lobbying and providing education, and how an organization as a 501c3 can get involved. So we will be looking to do a little more information around that as we get more into the session, probably sometime in February or March. So perhaps as a brown bag or a different webinar, or maybe even a Facebook Live event. So watch for that. We'll be sending information on that. So looks like you covered that good as well, Amy. We have no questions on this either.
Okay.
What else?
Great. I'm really glad that we're going to be doing a little more education on that, because I think, as most folks on the line know, this year is another big election year. And so lots of candidates are going to be campaigning, and so it'll be great to have that information about how programs can be involved within and stay within the limits of their 501c3 designation. So we're really excited to have that training coming up. So the next piece I want to talk to you a little bit about is how we communicate and connect at CCADV. So here I go again, coming out, going back on to our, probably should have had this pulled up, sorry about that, into our membership packet, because again, I think this has a really great description of some of the features of our communications and how we connect with members and how we connect members. Before we start that, I do want to just kind of take a quick call, or I'm sorry, a quick poll. I've got it here, Shannon, too. So I'm hoping folks on the line will answer this. And the question is, when was the last time that you asked a question on one of CCADV's listservs?
Amy, could you explain what a listserv is?
Sure. So for those of you who might not know, listservs, and we're going to talk a little bit more about CCADV's listservs. Some of you might know about the member listserv or the director listserv. We have region listservs. There are ways that it's an email list, sort of an automated email list, where folks can ask questions or get information from other people on that particular list. So looks like about 40% of you have weighed in, and I know that some of you are not yet members of CCADV, and so of course if you are not, then probably you have not been participating in our members lists. So maybe we'll just give you another moment or two to weigh in for those of you who actually are members. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and close that one out. We've got the majority of folks voting, and I'm going to share that with you. And so it looks like we've got kind of a tie. So about 40% haven't had a question that you needed to ask. That makes total sense. And about 40% of you didn't know you could or didn't know how to use the listserv. So I'm really glad that we're going to cover that today. And then again, another 13% said they did ask a question within the last year, and another 13% within the last 3 months. And I definitely said the last 3 months because, let's be honest, the last month, it was just probably enough for everybody to get up and go to work during the holidays, with all of everything going on. So thank you all for participating in that poll. So one of the ways that we do communicate with members and help connect other members to other members is through our list. So I'm just scrolling through here our membership packet. And here's our section on listservs and email lists. So listservs are really designed to be a conversation. So it's not necessarily just information sharing. It's really designed to be a place where people can ask questions and then have a discussion on issues related to that question. And so we do have a couple of members-only lists. So our membership list clearly is members only. And that's actually open to all CCADV members, staff, volunteers, board, whomever wants to be a part of that list. And again, it's used to ask questions of other programs around the state so that people can respond. So maybe it's, hey, we had a client come in today and was had questions about this particular issue, and we've never really thought about that before and weren't really sure how to respond. How have other people responded? And so you shoot that out there to, on the members list, this is the address you use. It says members@list.ccadv.org. You shoot it out to that, and it goes to everybody else who's on the list, and then people have an opportunity to weigh back in, and they can say, oh gosh, we had someone come in last week and they were having the same issue. Here's how we handled it. And so it's an opportunity for your peers to help you troubleshoot and weigh in. And all of CCADV staff receives these as well. And so if we have any resources or feedback, we'll also weigh in. One of the other members-only lists is our directors listserv. Now, this is a private list just for directors of our domestic violence member programs only. And so, again, a forum for them to discuss issues that are really specific to those folks. We also have a rural issues committee, a rural issues list. And again, it's a list designed to have discussions on rural specific issues. And I realize now I really need to probably put that address in there, and I will make that change. And then we have region lists for all of our 4 regions. I got to be honest, this is used mostly for information regarding regional membership meetings, but sometimes we actually get information that we want to share with just one particular region, because really it might be, for instance, an event in Colorado Springs, and we know that most people around the state are not going to go, but maybe someone from Region 3 would like to attend, and so we'll keep the information really specific to that region. Then we do have a couple of public lists that people who are not members are able to be a part of. And we have the folks there that you want to reach out to if that's something that you're interested in being a part of. So we do have an expert witness list, but that's really limited to folks who completed a training by NETA that CCADV sponsored or who regularly engage as expert witnesses on the issue of domestic violence. We also have a legal listserv, and this is open to both members and non-members that are engaged in any kind of legal advocacy, and that's, of course, for information and discussions on topics that are specific to something legal. So a lot of legal advocates are on there and can ask questions specifically to that group. And then we have a couple of Latina listservs. So one is our Latina Advocates, and that's a space for people who are specifically Latinas. So this is for people who identify as Latina, and they are doing anti-domestic violence and anti-sexual assault work in Colorado. On the other hand, there's the Serving Latinas, which is a space for anybody. You do not have to identify as Latina, but they're doing work on behalf of folks who do identify as Latina or Latino communities. So those are also available. And then we have a couple of email lists. We've got our public policy action alerts. That's if you want to sign up and be aware of when we actually have opportunities for you to engage with your legislators in some way. We, of course, have our monthly e-newsletter, which did go out this morning. And so if you didn't receive that in your inbox this morning, you're probably not on that list. And you can certainly sign up for it or reach out to one of us and we'll get you signed up. And now we have a brand new monthly housing newsletter that's going out about all things housing. And right now, if you're signed up for the e-newsletter, you're also going to be getting our housing newsletter. And at some point, we'll have an opportunity for people to opt out as we change soon platforms for email or for our email marketing. So just something to keep in mind. And then we talk in here about Listserv policies and etiquette. And also talk about how we don't use it for job postings. We do have a jobs board on our website. We ask that you post the jobs there, or event announcements or trainings. We actually have an events calendar, and that goes there, so that people don't get inundated with mail through these listservs. I tell Shannon we kind of act as gatekeepers to make sure that when you get information from CCADV, you know that it's not going to be something frivolous. It's going to be something that you are going to probably want to read or engage on. So we really try to keep the communication to a minimum so that we're not inundating you all the time with information, but just getting it when you really need to know it. So another way that we communicate with you is, of course, through social media. We have a Facebook page and Twitter. We also host the Colorado Men Making a Difference Facebook page, and so it highlights the ways that men can and are taking a stand against domestic violence. That's another way that we communicate. I've talked to you a little bit, of course, already about our newsletters, so both the e-newsletter and then the housing newsletter. And then, of course, the website, and I discussed earlier at the very beginning when I opened our website, the resource library. So those are just some ways that we help you connect with each other, with CCADV, and with resources that might help you as you work as an advocate. The picture down here, you'll see me right down there in the right-hand corner. I'm with Michael, who is our Stand Up Colorado Communications Coordinator. And the reason that I wanted to mention Michael is that as of, 9 days from today, when my child is due, I will be taking maternity leave for 2.5 months, and so Michael will be your point of contact for anything communications related. If you have technical assistance questions about communication, you can reach out always to me, but of course, during my maternity leave, Mike will be taking those questions as well. So if you, for instance, get a question from a reporter and you're not really sure how you want to answer it, or maybe you've got a story that you want to share with a reporter and try to make that connection, we can help you get connected and think of ways to outreach to them. If you have questions about wanting to post things on social media, or how you might go about scheduling social media posts, or best using social media for your organization, those are all technical assistance questions that we can assist you with. If you have trouble finding something in our resource library, we can certainly connect you with the right resources. And that resource library, we know, is not the most user-friendly resource library, and that is definitely one of our projects for 2018 and 2019, is really getting that cleaned up and making it much easier for all of you to access. That seems like a mouthful, but of course I'm the communications director, so I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about that. But in case I didn't answer someone's questions about this, what questions might you have about communications or connecting? We're going to go ahead and let you ask those questions in the chat box once again before we move on.
So if anyone has a question, again, please feel free to type it into the chat box or into the question box. Right now, too, we also would like to just kind of put out there, Amy's covered a ton of information, and actually I've learned quite a bit from this as well, and I've been here a little over a year thinking, oh, we offer that, we have that, so I hope you guys have too, but I know that some of you that have joined us today have probably utilized some of your benefits of being with CCADV. So if any of you would be willing to either type that into the chat box or type that into the question box, and then we can share it back of working with CCADV and either receiving some training and technical assistance or any of the other benefits that you've enjoyed. We'd love to be able to just share that out as well. So we'll give you some time to do that, or just feel free to do that as Amy continues.
Awesome. Okay. Oopsies. So the next part is just sort of miscellaneous, and these are just a couple of things I wanted to call your attention to, and then also get your brain thinking about any questions that you might have about something that maybe you didn't hear today, that you thought, oh, I thought CCADV does this. Is that true? Or, you know, I have this question. Is that something that they could help me with? Who could I connect with? So this is really exciting. I don't know if you all knew this, but DV program members, so specifically members who are domestic violence advocacy programs, so not individual members and not community partners, are actually eligible for national vision and dental plans for their employees through our national coalition, NNEDV. So they offer it to us, and then they let us offer it to our programs. So if that's something that you think that you might be interested in for your employees, Pat Tesmer is the person that you'd want to connect with here at CCADV, and we can certainly get you her information. In fact, maybe Shannon, you could just type her email into the chat box real quickly, so folks might find out more information about that. I think that's something that's really exciting, because I know that that can be really difficult for some programs to offer their employees. One of the ways that I think is really exciting as a member to come together is through region meetings. So twice a year, we, two of our staff members, typically Amy Miller, our executive director, and then one other staff member, makes their statewide tour around the state and host region meetings. And so we have them now typically sometime in the March zone of time, because we want to make sure that it's enough time before the conference. We don't want folks to have to travel too close together. And that's usually a bit of a shorter meeting, anywhere between like 2 to 3 hours, where folks get together. CCADV talks about some of the highlights that are going on at our office, and then we have the opportunity to hear from all of the programs or all of the members that are able to join those region meetings about what's going on in their community. And it's just a really great way to come together and network and hear from each other, brainstorm, problem solve. It's a really great way to connect. And then typically in September or October, we make the rounds again, and this time is a longer meeting where we incorporate some sort of training component. This last year, for those of you who were able to attend, Amy and Pat Tesmer did a pretty substantial training on CVS grant applications, because we had some changes that we saw in those grant applications and what folks were eligible to apply for, which ends up being a whole lot more than we were previously able to apply for. And so that was really an exciting way to bring that information to you and help you think about moving forward. What are some ways that you can actually be asking for more money for your programs, which is not something that we're used to doing. We're always used to working, doing more with less. And this time we're actually really encouraging programs to ask for more. We actually put some of the highlights from that training in this month's newsletter, because I know as you get closer to March and finishing writing up that grant, you might want access to those resources once again. So of course that's from a message, that's in the message from Pat in the newsletter that went out today. And then just some other things, other neat ways that you're able to partner as a member of CCADV is folks around the state have been involved in statewide research projects that CCADV has been a part of. So for instance, a couple of years ago, programs from around the state were able to participate in a pets and families research project where they were actually given cash money for helping with research on the issue of the impact of, or the intersection of domestic violence, child abuse, and pet abuse. And we did research with survivors anonymously, and survivors were actually paid for their time doing the research. So that's an exciting way that some folks were able to partner with us a long time ago. We are always looking for opportunities like that, and then sharing them with our members. Some folks participated in our rural grant programs, so our coordinated community response rural program that we had a couple of years ago, as well as our Latina Advocacy rural program that we had a couple of years ago. As I said before, members were able to get involved in our expert witness group. Members can help survivors get connected once they've moved past crisis and into a healing place. They can help their survivors get connected with our Survivor Caucus if that's something that they want to do. So there's just different ways that members are able to partner with CCADV and with other members around the state. And again, I think that's really important because we get really siloed in our work and just day in and day out really doing that crisis management, which is really important work. And it can be a little daunting when we forget that we're really a part of something bigger, that we're part of a movement to end relationship violence. And so it's really great when we are able to connect with others doing that same work and feel like we are a part of something bigger than ourselves and bigger than our individual programs. So I feel like that's a really important aspect of being a part of the coalition. So all of that being said, this is where I stop talking at you quite so much and instead want to hear back from you. And while you're thinking about any questions that you might have, I just want to reiterate that, again, we have started our 2018 membership drive. The reason that I keep mentioning that is because at the end of March, if folks have not renewed for 2018, then we do have to cut off those membership benefits for the year. And so we don't want to see that happen. We want to partner with you. We want you to be a member and be able to engage with us and take advantage of those membership benefits. All membership levels are eligible for scholarships if that is something that you need. And of course, we have more information on that to give you, and that's actually part of the application processes where you can actually click to request a scholarship. And so we want to make sure that finances are not a barrier to you being able to come on board as a CCADV member, or if it happens to be a particularly difficult year for you to continue that membership for the year. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Shannon, and let me know if folks have questions.
All right, sounds good. So again, feel free to type any questions into the chat box or into the question box. Real quickly, as you're thinking of that, we want to let you know that when you close out of this webinar, that there is a really brief survey at the end. Like, honestly, it'll take you maybe 37 seconds, if that. But we want to make sure we're providing relevant information that is relevant for you, and your input helps us to be able to do that. The other thing is our brown bags are always held the second Tuesday of every month at noon. So feel free to mark your 2018 calendar for the second Tuesday of every month at noon. And we'll plan to see everyone next month on Tuesday the 13th. It doesn't look like we have any questions right now. So again, Amy, we want to say thank you very much for sharing this information with us today on the CCADV membership. Oh, hang on just a second. We do have one. So someone's asking about how they get on the listservs again, and emailing the point of contact. So I do want to let you know, too, that in this follow-up, everyone will receive a follow-up email. And in that follow-up email, I'm going to provide a bunch of kind of reminders, links, who to contact for what, and where it is you would find information about some of the membership benefits that we covered today. So I'll make sure to include that in the follow-up email that will have a copy of the PowerPoint as well as a recording of today, and then there'll be information in the email with information on who to go to and ask those questions. So we'll make sure we get that taken care of.
And I'm typing in right now. If you want it immediately, Tamara at tgreen@ccadv.org is who you want to contact to get on those listservs. So I just went ahead and typed that in the box, but Shannon will provide all of that information to you in the follow-up email.
Thank you all very much for joining us today. We hope you all have a great Tuesday and a wonderful January and start to your 2018, and we'll see you next month.
Bye. Thank you.